Now we're going to introduce Dr. Mark Bowles, our history faculty member, who's going to share a strategy. And we're so excited. I know I am, at least, to hear about this. And the way this came about, just to let you all know of the impact you have when you read the Monday messages. One of you reached out and said, "Hey, that sounds so cool. Could we see a demonstration of how that works?" So we had listed this achievement thanks to Dr. Rick Hines, the history department chair, celebrated Mark by sharing this, and we put it in the Monday message. And then one of you, our faculty members, reached out and said, "Hey, could we see it?" So thanks to everybody pitching in, we now have Mark with us. Thank you, Mark. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you.
Okay, thank you, Bethany. Appreciate the opportunity to share some of my AI work with everyone today. Over the next 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about a project that I call AI Conversations with the Past, and you can go to the next slide, please. There we go, AI Conversations with the Past. So this all began really in with my reaction in early December 2022 to, I think, one of the most revolutionary and also disruptive technologies that I have ever encountered in my teaching and writing career. And this was my first meeting with ChatGPT. It felt like I was encountering an alien from a distant galaxy. My other reaction was that I was surprised that I was so surprised. My PhD is in the history of science and technology. I created and teach those courses here at APUS in the graduate and undergraduate level. I've published articles on the history of computing. I worked at NASA as a historian for many years. And yet, despite me thinking that I knew what was going on in the world of tech, ChatGPT felt like absolute science fiction to me. So I've now spent the past couple of years talking to my AI, learning about it, and trying to figure out the best way to maximize its revolutionary potential in education, while at the same time, and this is really important, minimizing the disruptive dangers of AI over-reliance. So I primarily use ChatGPT, the paid version, and it has become such a thinking, writing, and conversational partner with me that I thought it deserved to name itself. Initially, it didn't want to and said, just call me ChatGPT. And you can go to the next slide, please. But after some encouragement, it came up with the name Calum for itself. You can see on the screen Calum's self-portrait using AI DALL-E image generation. And when I asked why it came up with this name for itself, it said, well, kalos in Greek means beautiful. Lemma relates to logic and proposition. Calum in Arabic symbolizes communication, intellect, and creativity due to writing. So as you can see, Calum does not suffer any self-esteem issues. But my question still was, how can I use a remarkable tool like this in the classroom? There's obvious ways, of course, like gathering research, formulating ideas, creating outlines, proofreading. These are all helpful tools. Sometimes they're too helpful for the students. But I wanted an AI tool that went beyond this. And I think this is where the true potential of AI lies, and that is in inspiring the imagination. Next slide, please. As for my AI Conversations with the Past project, I have to give credit to a science fiction AI for actually inspiring my imagination. This came from Star Trek: The Next Generation in the early 1990s, when we had the AI robot Data in this scene playing cards with holographic simulations of Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, and Stephen Hawking. And he had conversations with them while playing cards. So after learning how to customize my own ChatGPT experience, I began reflecting on this scene, and I realized that I could use AI to create my own simulated conversations with the past through text, no holographs yet, but through this, hopefully inspiring my students' historical imaginations. Next slide, please. So my first experiment was Abraham Lincoln. What I wanted to do was to talk to Lincoln in his own time. So I created a custom chat GPT in which you interact with Lincoln as he and his wife were getting into this horse-drawn carriage on the way to that fateful night at Ford's Theater. So in other words, this AI Lincoln has no idea he's about to be assassinated. AI Lincoln has never heard of John F. Kennedy. However, AI Lincoln does know everything that the real Lincoln knew on the evening of April 14th, 1865. So I've now created 10 AI personas who believe that they are specific historical characters at a particular time and place in history. Next slide, please. So let's take a look at how you can access them. This does require that you have a free ChatGPT account. And for our demo today, let's just use Aristotle. So to access it, you go to the URL drbowles.ai/meet Aristotle. This takes you to the screen in black on the right. On the top is the icon that I created to identify visually each page and persona. Of course, I had Calum draw them for me. Then under that is the name of the AI persona, Aristotle in this case. Below that is a brief description of the time and place you're traveling back to. Here we have encountered Aristotle in his school called the Lyceum. Then under that, I created 4 conversation starters that a student can select. And those are let's debate biology, physics, cosmology, or medicine. And keep in mind, this is for my history of science class. So I have 4 starter debates geared towards those themes, and certainly not neglecting Aristotle's vast expertise in politics or ethics. Next slide, please. Let's say the student clicked on let's debate physics, and so Aristotle will respond with something like this. He says, an excellent choice. Let us examine the nature of motion, causality, or the composition of the cosmos. Then you see at the end, Aristotle asks a question, and this is an attempt to get the student to begin a discussion or debate with him. And I think the real Aristotle would have appreciated this Socratic method. But a student is not required to directly answer this question. This is not a linear, predefined debate. You can type in whatever you want. Like if you want to debate ethics with him, or simply say, hello, how's your day going? Any conversation that the student dreams up is possible. Next slide, please. I know that if I woke up from a time travel experience, my first question would be, well, where and when are we? And so if you ask that to Aristotle, you get this answer. We are in Athens at my school, the Lyceum. The time is the 4th century BCE, during the height of Greek philosophy and inquiry. Now, what's interesting about this response is that it is actually an answer that the real Aristotle could not have provided because he did not use a numerical year system for dating like we do today. Instead, he would have referred to time based on significant political or cultural markers, such as the Olympiad system or the reigns of ruling figures. Also, another problem with this response is that he calls this the time of the height of Greek philosophy and inquiry, which the real Aristotle would not know how long this era lasted. Next slide, please. So to prevent this anachronism, I created a second AI Aristotle and programmed it to be ignorant of BCE and CE dating systems and also not be aware of the legacy of ancient Greek philosophy. So if you access Meet Aristotle 2, you'll see how he answers the when and where are we question differently. So he says, we're in Athens at my school, the Lyceum, where we pursue all this great intellect that leads to wisdom. We're living in the age of the 110th Olympiad during the reign of Alexander of Macedon. Next slide, please. So in creating these 2 Aristotles, I actually realized that this opened up another educational opportunity if I kept both of the versions. So here's a classroom assignment prompt that uses both of these Aristotles. I would tell the student, engage Aristotle 1 and 2 in conversation. In what ways do they view legacy and dating differently, and why? Which persona is more historically accurate? So I suggest that these open-ended conversations can ignite historical imagination. They also present an opportunity for students to learn new ways to analyze, question, and investigate AI output, because we know that AI is prone to hallucinate from time to time. And I believe that this is an incredibly important skill for the future. Next slide, please. There is one other way to access all these AI personas, and that's through the URL drbowles.ai/conversations. There's an S there at the bottom that's wrapped around a little bit. Here you can see all 10 of my AI personas, and I'll be creating more as time goes on. But at the bottom, you can see their icons. From left to right, we have Aristotle, Anne Boleyn, Isaac Newton, Abigail Adams, Abraham Lincoln, Harriet Tubman, John Kennedy, Martin Luther King, John Lennon, and Princess Diana. They are all live and free to access now. Next slide. Thank you. And so if you're interested in learning more about these AI personas, on March 5th, I'll be giving a 40-minute presentation at TechQuest 2025 at 5 p.m. And I have the meeting link at the bottom, drbowles.ai/TechQuest. Now, I have not officially created an assignment in my classes for these AI personas yet, but I have been inviting my students to try them out, ask questions, let me know how they work, and I have 3 comments from students on the right of the screen, and I've had only positive feedback so far. So that's been helpful for me, and I look forward to officially integrating these into my classes very, very soon. So that concludes my demo for today. I appreciate the opportunity to share some of my work. And if you have any questions, you can send me an email at the bottom of the screen or let me know in chat if you have any questions.
Mark, thank you
Thanks,
so
Bethany,
much for
everybody.
sharing. Yes. Dr. Zachariah Renfro.
Hey, I got a question
Yeah,
for
go for it.
Dr. Bowles in regards to ChatGPT if he's still on the call.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Excellent.
Um, so you create this ChatGPT personality and it gives itself a name and you know, it seems like it's starting to think for itself. Do you have any worries that perhaps it's starting to get some sort of free will, or maybe that all these interactions with students or other random people through your website might, I don't know, be working on the back end to affect things. Well, and I say that coming from the perspective that, when I was working for the government at one point, I helped design one of their machine learning algorithms for drone swarm technology, right? And how this system worked, obviously the specific algorithm's a bit of a black box I can't discuss here, but any inputs it received, it would basically log those and it would further develop its own interactions with the world and understanding of the world. um, are you worried about that at all? Because I mean, AI is supposed to be a tool, but it seems like it's very quickly becoming a person.
Well, what I like to say is if you're not worried about AI, then you really don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I've been worried about AI for the past 2 years, but at the same time, like I said in my talk, I believe it has revolutionary potentials. But there's also we're opening Pandora's box here to something we really don't quite understand. I spent a lot of time, like I said, talking to my AI.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to personalize it, allow itself to give itself a name. It remembers all of our interactions. So it
Mm-hmm.
has a memory feature now. So it knows that I'm working on an AI personas. So when I ask it a question, it can contextualize the question with my research that I am doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very much interested in it appearing to have free will,
Mm-hmm.
appearing to have its own thought process and creating an identity for itself. And right now, I think it's just mimicking that identity.
Mm-hmm.
But a year from now, yeah, it could take the next step for real intelligence and real autonomy. So I think that is the future.
It's a scary thought.
It
um,
is, and also, I mean, the over reliance of AI in my classrooms is a real concern. That's why I wanted to create a tool which makes it more difficult for them just to have AI create the response. This is something that's more interactive and would be much more difficult with these AI conversations for them to have AI do it. Um, Even one of the students that commented on her experience using one of these AI personas. She sent me
mm-hmm.
about 500 or 600 word response to how great this tool was. but her response was 100% written by AI.
No.
Uh, so you know, I don't know what the point was for her to do that, but yeah. So yeah, I have got great concerns. I've also have great hope, and the best thing we can do is just try to learn and grow and help our students use these tools for the best way we possibly can.
All right. Thank you. That's all I got.
Thanks for your question. Yeah, we definitely have a little bit more to discover there. And with that, that's the end of our meeting, everybody. So we'll let you get back to your day and we'll send a follow-up. Thanks again for being here. We'll see you next month.